Hello and welcome to the Soul Ashraya podcast, a weekly bhakti podcast where we seek the shelter and the wisdom of our dear Lord Krishna through Shastra, prayer, and conversation. I'm your host, Bhakti Jake, and with me is my friend and teacher, Balaram Shakti Das. Hare Krishna, my friend.
Hare Krishna.
How's it going out there in Arizona?
Super nice. Yeah.
Nice. Good. Looking good out there in Arizona. I gotta tell you.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's a beautiful day here in Rochester. It's about 70 degrees, sunny. Strong breeze coming off of the Lake Ontario. It's nice. Very nice. Yeah. So today we are getting into chapter 1 of the Krishna book. And
yes, finally.
Yeah, we've been working our way up, and now we're finally here, getting into the real deal right now. So I'm very excited for this to get right into it. Really, I'm excited to get right into it. So I think without further ado, should we do some invocations?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Tune our consciousness.
Yes.
To our teachers and to Krishna.
Yes.
And then we can dive right in.
Yes.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanshakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jai. Such a sweet name. So sweet. He is so merciful, isn't he? Krishna. I feel so much better now. Every time after we do those invocations, I feel so much better. Get tuned right in, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I like it.
Yeah, so, you're vibrating, it's not a small thing, the voice, the function of the voice is, like vibrar. It's, you are like making a declaration of your being, right? We use words quite cheaply in this day and age, but it's very powerful if you take the path of speaking truth. You will become very powerful, actually, because you're vibrating truth, and that's something universal. It's not just something relative, it's something absolute, actually. Truth, there's absolute truth. So when we resonate with that, and when we make a declaration of that with our being, then our whole being, gets strength by that. And whereas if you're not, then you don't have real strength, because you're not coming from a place, within yourself that's solid, that's substantial, that's based on truth. It's just based on some illusion and some illusory sense of self, and we get mixed up with that, and then we feel that, whereas if we say, no, yes, I'm spirit, I'm connected, just to vibrate that, like, we'll feel in the vibration of it, this this sense of being grounded,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a place where I want to be. Like, I want to live there. I want to be there all the time. I want to live in that space. And it is so true. So true. With all the things we have to do in this modern world, coming and going and everything, working and schedules and everything, it's so easy to just slip out of it so easily. And then you start wondering why you're thinking weird things and why you're having strange thoughts and all kinds of stuff. And you want to stay right in that space. I know. And to learn these mantras that we use in the invocation, to learn them and to memorize them, I mean, that alone just is probably so good for your mind. So good for, if you're getting stressed out somewhere, just think about those mantras, any of those mantras. I would say any, even the of course the Maha mantra, but any of the mantras, even bits and pieces of the mantras, if you don't know them all yet. That's what I
Yeah.
try to do on a daily basis while I'm at work, is just kind of try to remember the mantras and just think about that as I'm working. Because what else? I mean, what else is there really? There's nothing more important to be thinking about. Let's just face it. There's nothing more important that you could be thinking about. So, yeah.
Yeah, in particular the Maha Mantra, because that is the absolute truth.
Yeah.
Everything is contained in the holy name, and it's contained in its pure spiritual substance, because that's God, that's Krishna directly himself. Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo. The purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna. Aham eva vedyo. Krishna says, me, me, the person, Krishna. That's the end of all Vedas, means knowledge. So all knowledge is the purpose of that. Like you're saying, like what other purpose is there, in life? Krishna says, yeah, that's right. It's just me. So to remember God, that's what the Maha Mantra is doing. And these other mantras, like you're saying, even just having a piece of them, just like a fraction of remembrance there, that's so incredible, and it does so much for you, because these invocations, notice it's sort of like a ladder, culminating in Maha Mantra.
Yeah.
It's like we're first thanking our guru, Param Guru, right? All Vaishnavas. There's many more invocation mantras, right? The Bhagavad Gita does the whole standard set, and even that, there's so many more. Like, actually, on the 17th, in 2 weeks, is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. So
yeah,
generally on the days of the saints, we do a Pushpa Abhishek, where we do like a full invocation. I was thinking of like 21 gun salute, it's like the full regalia, right? So you do like the full thing, and you culminate in that saint, their invocation mantras, their pranam mantras. Wow. And you do it 3 times. Each time you offer flowers. So it's really wonderful. So we'll be doing that here. I was going to say something else. I don't remember what.
Wow, that is so beautiful. That is really there's
Yeah, Bhagavatam, right? Srimad Bhagavatam. There's statement that if you even have one verse, like one page of the book, like here I have a whole shelf in the house, even if you have just one page from this book in your house, it makes your home very auspicious, is as auspicious as a temple.
Yeah,
actually. So what to speak if you have the whole thing? What to speak if you have the whole thing and you read it? What to speak if you read it with others and discuss it like we're doing here?
yeah.
Right? That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that's like, then you're really fulfilling the purport of Veda, of knowledge. You know, this is the culmination of all Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the cream, the layer of cream on top of a layer of cream.
Yeah.
You know, of the milk of the Vedas.
Yeah.
So, you know, milk is only good for, you know, being consumed, right? So we need to drink this nectar and spread it, you know, give it to others. So that's what it's for. And in that, and again, that's like, you know, the vocalization, right? Invocation, you know, so we invocate, you know, we link ourselves to that, you know, that chain of masters who are connecting us with Krishna, and then directly with Krishna. You know, it's a matter of respect, and that it gets us in the right mood to be receptive to just who and what Krishna actually is. Otherwise, you might think you're chanting, but chanting is ineffective without the right mood, you know. Not to say it's completely ineffective. There's still some effect, of course, because you're still vibrating. But we want the real thing.
Yeah.
And then we live in it. This is how we live in it, you know. Like you're saying, like, I want to live there. It's like, yeah, that's perfection of life, is to live in full consciousness as a servant of Krishna, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely. I've got, you can't see it, but my Bhagavatam set is all right here. Right.
Oh yeah, that's
on the
right.
side. So I'm kind of like, everything's kind of like on the side. So yeah. So it's like my books, and then my altar is over here. I got some just pictures right now for deities. I'm just using pictures because that's all I have right now. And I got it. I just really keep it clean. It's like a beginner process kind of a altar. But yeah, I would call this definitely the deity room. And you know, you don't have to have anything super special, but it is what a difference it makes just to have a little something set up, even if even if it's just pictures, to be able to have a space in your home or in your living space where, you know, this little corner is dedicated to Krishna makes a huge difference in your house and or your living space wherever you're living. It makes a huge difference in your consciousness, and it's, you feel like just a serenity or a peaceful vibe when you go to that area of your house. So it's, I would definitely say that's very important too. It's a place where you can sit down and concentrate, maybe just read or try to memorize some mantras. So important, so important. But yes, just having the books is set up is very auspicious. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice point, like having just even a corner of your home dedicated to God, to spirit, you know, to real consciousness, and, you know, having that peace, right?
Yeah.
But of course, yeah, and so our process here is connecting with that, immersing ourselves in the vibration. But the real point is not to just have a corner of your home dedicated to God, but to have your all of your property, everything 100% dedicated to Krishna.
Yeah.
So, and the altar room, or the whatever you want to call it, is a representation, and the same way that you would invite a guest into your home, or like install a king onto a throne, right? You give that person a space, appropriate space. You give them a nice space, not like a dusty corner.
Right.
Like, you go over here.
Yeah.
No, this is, but I think, the modern world's, at least anyway, the society, it's very secular. And so the idea of that, it's like, okay, I can get into like having a different room, be like, this is the meditation room. I also have like my workout room, my living room, family room, kitchen, bedroom, right, bathroom. Okay, I can have a meditation room. It's a separate activity room, or maybe it'll be along with the other thing. It's like our brain is structured in these boxes. We can't see, like, no, like, you're thinking this house to belong to you. Just like, well, what do you mean? Like, it does belong to me? No, it doesn't. Like, when you die, when you leave your body, are you gonna take your house with you? Like, does that go with you? Like, no.
Nope.
It's God's energy.
Yeah.
So spiritual life means really bringing in this consciousness, that I'm a caretaker here.
Yeah.
And so why shouldn't my home reflect that?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't my home reflect that? It's audacious to not have an image of God in your home.
Yeah.
To not have a deity. It's audacious.
Yeah.
Of course, there are versions of worship of God that don't use image, or a icon, right? It's like, okay, that seems a lot more difficult. How do you live in the consciousness that this is God's home? Well, you should have activity constantly that evokes that consciousness, that demonstrates that consciousness, that this is a sacred space. I want my life to be sacred. I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you want your life to be mundane, in which case, best of luck to you.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out.
There's no, if you're looking for mundane, you better not get into Krishna consciousness.
No.
It's so funny, like all the parties and all the celebrations that happened. I had no clue about that. And there's like there's Ekadasi once a month, right?
Twice, yeah.
Yeah. Every single month of the year. And then there's all the other appearance days, disappearance days, all that. And then there's like the regular holidays. And then, it's just like this ongoing party. It's like just all around, like just worshiping, it's just so many forms of worship, so many opportunities to worship. It's really just amazing. It's just always a party going on. And I say party loosely, I guess, just because
we should say festival usually.
Festival, yeah.
It's a little better.
Yeah. Party going on all the time when you're in Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
although to be fair, we also use the word party.
Yes.
We say like what we more mean like a congregation, like Sankirtan party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Party time.
Okay.
No fun. No fun.
Party's over.
No fun. No fun. Oh man. So okay. Let's should we get right in now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to read or would you like me to read? Prabhu?
Okay. I'll start us off.
Yes.
Just the first two. Okay. Reading from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 1, the Advent of Lord Krishna. So we can meditate on the Advent, what does that signify? Right? It's the entry of that divine festival of Krishna into our life, right? It's Krishna coming into our lives is actually what's happening.
Yes.
And yeah, there's really nice significance of the circumstance in which Krishna comes to the world, which I think we can all find some relevance to, especially like the pandemic, right? Someone said like Krishna was also born in a lockdown, so like you can meditate like that Janmashtami, right? Janma means birth, Astami means signifying the day of the month that Krishna was born. So Krishna Janmashtami,
Yeah.
Krishna's birthday, that we can meditate on inviting Krishna into our lives. So this is the advent of Lord Krishna. Once the world was overburdened by the unnecessary defense force of different kings who were actually demons, but were posing themselves as the royal order. At that time, the whole world became perturbed, and the predominating deity of this earth, known as Bhumi, went to see Lord Brahma to tell of her calamities due to the demoniac kings. Bhumi assumed the shape of a cow and presented herself before Lord Brahma with tears in her eyes. She was bereaved and was weeping just to invoke the Lord's compassion. She related the calamitous position of the earth, and after hearing this, Lord Brahma became much aggrieved, and he at once started for the ocean of milk, where Lord Vishnu resides. Lord Brahma was accompanied by all the demigods, headed by Lord Shiva, and Bhumi also followed. Arriving on the shore of the ocean of milk, Lord Brahma began to pacify Lord Vishnu, who had formerly saved the earthly planet, by assuming the transcendental form of a boar. Do we want to discuss any of that? Or should we keep going?
We can, I don't know.
But I mean, the rest of it is just coming up, basing itself off of the fact that there's an ocean of milk. Lord assumes a boar form, and the earth assumes a cow form.
Yeah. Do you
So,
want
like, what is your understanding of these things?
the boar was one of the avatars of Vishnu, right?
Right.
I cannot remember the name of that avatar.
Varaha.
Varaha. Okay, yes. So, yes. So, and the ocean of milk is that, I guess it's a different ocean than the other one, the
Puzzle Ocean?
causal ocean. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's
different.
really, yeah, that's like Narayana, right? Like,
No, causal ocean is the lower half of the universe, is an ocean, and then all the planetary systems are above that. But there's a form of Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu,
okay.
who resides on the causal ocean. And then there's another ocean where Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, the super soul, has his own.
Right. Oh.
So this is, I mean, it's like, okay, the Earth planet takes the form of a cow, like, okay, what? So we should understand that this is a higher dimension of reality,
Yeah.
right? So we're experiencing this dimension, and so we're thinking of things in certain terms.
Yeah.
But on a higher dimension, everything that's going on is taken up in personalities,
Yeah.
actually. So there's personality behind everything. On this plane, we're experiencing how the interaction of these various forces plays out, right, as earthly objects, but in higher planes, those same forces are interacting as persons.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for us to wrap our heads around that. But I mean, you can just imagine, it's like, say you have a any relationship that you're in, actually. Like, I'm reminded, the first example, this is a good example, comes to mind, is when I had a partner that I was traveling with in Brazil, right? My ex-girlfriend. We each had a horse, actually. We were traveling by horse, and it was very interesting how each horse really sort of, what's the word, embodied or represented our like personality. Almost like our solar plexus was embodied in these horses, and the relationship between the horses was like totally mirroring our
Really?
relationship. It was very
Really?
interesting. There was a lot
Huh.
of things that I could share about that.
Yeah.
But I remember there was like a significant point. There was a turning point in our relationship. Soon after we arrived in the last city that we were together in, this one city, Arguaina, I think. I'm not even sure the name anymore. It's been so long. I think it was Arguaina, Tocantins. And we had this experience that it was like we butted heads. And in that butting of heads, it was almost like this fist bump, where it's like, in the Naruto universe, if you bump fists, you can like see each other's hearts, right? So like in that like perfect mirroring, right, that perfect like, I don't know, conjunction, we were able to see each other, and we realized like, oh, that's what it is. We're butting heads there in this place, and our horses are doing that also. And there was this scene that she saw one night. She went out and to see the horses, and there was this flash of lightning. It was dark. It was at night. There was a flash of lightning, and when that flash illuminated the sky, she saw our two horses like on their hind legs, like fighting, like facing off. And it was just like this epic scene, right?
Whoa.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Crazy.
lightning flash, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because they were like that. Anyway, it's like alpha male, needing to impose his dominance, and then the other like trying to assert himself. Anyway, so the dynamics. So these dynamics, it's like we're experiencing them as just subtle forces, right, on the human plane.
Yeah.
But then they sort of get like zoomorphized, right? You understand that term? There's like anthropomorphize,
Yes.
where an idea takes the form of a human.
Right.
And then there's zoomorphized, where
Yeah.
the energy, the idea gets morphed into the form of an animal.
Yes. An animal.
So it's like our
zoology,
right,
zoological
study of animals.
garden. Yes. Yes.
So the
Right
energy
there with you.
of
Right there with you, Professor.
okay. Nice. Yes. So the energy of our dynamic was like took the form of these animals. It's sort of like we outsourced. We actually were realizing this like when we first got together. We had like two horses, our dog, this like all of our baggage, right? We all carry baggage, and we outsource our baggage into all of these possessions and objects, beings, actually. It's very interesting. And this is also happening kind of on a higher dimension down here. Like we're the outsourced carriers of baggage in a sense. We have to realize that we're actually much more than that. But all the different strata of the universe they're all playing a different role as far as the dimensions of stuff, right, that we get wrapped up in. So yeah, our dynamic played out like that, and in a similar way, it's sort of like you could say there's an anthropomorphization of energy that plays out in higher dimensions, but it's sort of like reverse, because that realm is actually more real than this realm. It's not that usually when we say anthropomorphize, it means like taking a form of a human where the reality is non-human. But the fact is, the reality is personhood. And our experience is the reverse of that, the disanthropomorphization of the actual substance of energy. And of course, the ultimate reality is the supreme personality of Godhead. So these personalities of demigods are sort of like the reservoirs, or the you could say archetypes, but again, archetype has that same connotation that it's not substantive in itself. It's just like a placeholder, but it actually is substance. The zodiac are personalities. The months are personalities. Ekadasi is a personality. The day that we fast on. It's like, this is really hard for us to understand, but we don't have a real understanding of reality. We're just seeing this dimension of it. So this higher dimension, the Bhagavatam is largely speaking on this perspective, the higher dimensional perspective, what's going on, the way that it maps the universe, which is in like 5th canto, somewhere in there. That's nice to have. It's a higher dimensional perspective, so the measurements don't necessarily make sense to us, but they can be transposed actually. And anyway, complex math.
Yeah.
So the earth she takes, her name is Bhumi, right? She's a personality. Like a lot of people call her Gaia, right? There's this Mother Earth.
Yeah.
And again, it's often used just sort of like metaphorically, and metaphor is taken to be not real, but just helpful. And it's not a metaphor, it's fact. This is what the scriptures are saying. And if we raise our consciousness, we can see these things. Sri Vyasadeva, he was empowered to have totally expanded consciousness by bhakti yoga. Actually, he meditated. This is how the Bhagavatam came to be. His guru empowered him. You meditate on Sri Krishna by the process of the linking process of bhakti yoga. Meditate on Krishna. He did, and he saw Krishna. And when you see Krishna, you see everything. It's not like someone was saying this the other day. In a few of our classes, that when we look at the altar or when we're chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, then Krishna is in front of us right now. But the distracted mind wants you to think there's something behind you. There's something else. There's some other reality that you need to attend to. So your mind gets distracted, right? Whereas you need to keep on one track, because this one track of God consciousness, everything is there. So Vyasadeva saw Krishna, and as like the backdrop, he saw all the material energy, all of time, all of space, all of the cosmos. Yeah. And then he wrote this book. Yeah. So this is his vision. This is what he saw. And that vision that he saw was then passed down the disciplic line to Shukadeva, who is the narrator. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. Yeah.
Jai.
You want to continue reading?
So here's the scene. Yeah. Okay. Why don't you take up the next one?
Okay. Yeah, share screen. Let's do this. Okay. Yes. Here we go. All right. In the Vedic mantras, there is a particular type of prayer called Purusya Sukta. Generally, the demigods offer their obeisances unto Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by chanting the Purusha Sukta. It is understood herein that the predominating deity of every planet can see the Supreme Lord of this universe, Brahma. Whenever there is some disturbance on this planet, and Brahma can approach the Supreme Lord Vishnu, not by seeing him directly, but by standing on the shore of the ocean of milk. There is a planet within this universe called Sveta Dweep, and on that planet there is an ocean of milk. It is understood from various Vedic literatures that just as there is the ocean of salt water on this planet, there are various kinds of oceans on other planets. Somewhere there is an ocean of milk, somewhere there is an ocean of soil, and somewhere there are oceans of liquor and of many other types of liquids. The I'm so sorry.
Purusha.
Yes, Purusha Sukta is the standard prayer which the demigods recite to appease the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sira, or I should say, yeah, that is Sira.
So whenever the S has any mark, there's two marks, right? One, a dot below, other times the accent mark above. Whenever the S has a mark on it, it's a sh sound.
Okay. So
Shiro Dakshai.
Oh, okay, Shiro Dakshai. Yes, I remember.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shiro Dakshai, Vishnu, because he is lying on the ocean of milk. He is called Kiroshaya Daksh, or yeah. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Kiroshodakshai Vishnu. He is the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through whom all the incarnations within this universe appear. So after all the demigods offer the Purusha Sukta prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they apparently heard no response. Then Lord Brahma personally sat in meditation, and there was a message transmission from Lord Vishnu to Brahma. Brahma then broadcast the message to the demigods. That is the system of receiving Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is received first by Brahma from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the heart, as is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tene Brahma Hydraya Adya Kavaya. The transcendental knowledge of the Vedas was transmitted to Lord Brahma through the heart. Here also, in the same way, only Brahma could understand the message transmitted by Lord Vishnu. And the broadcast, and he broadcast it to the demigods for their immediate action. The message was this: the Supreme Personality of Godhead would appear on the earth very soon, along with his supreme powerful potencies. And as long as he remained on the earth planet to execute his mission of annihilating the demons and establishing the devotees, the demigods should remain there to assist him. They should all immediately take birth in the family of the Yadu dynasty, wherein the Lord would also appear in due course of time. The Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Krishna, would would personally appear as the son of Vasudeva. Before his appearance, all the demigods, along with their wives, should appear in different pious families in the world just to assist the Lord in executing this mission. The exact word used here is tat priyatayam. I hope I did that right, which means the demigods should appear on the earth in order to please the Lord. In other words, any living entity who lives only to satisfy the Lord is a demigod. The demigods were further informed that Ananta, the plenary portion of Lord Krishna, who is maintaining the universal planets by extending his millions of hoods, would also appear in the earth before Lord Krishna's appearance. They were also informed that Vishnu's external potency, Maya, with whom all the conditioned souls are enamored, would also appear by the order of the Supreme Lord, just to execute his purpose. Wow. There is some information there.
Yeah.
Yes. I was literally doing 3 things at once while I was reading that. So, someone was trying to get in and I couldn't. They came up on the screen, but then they disappeared.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought they would wait a minute. Whoever that was, try to get back again. I'll let you in this time. I thought it would hold him for longer. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could probably adjust the settings to
Yeah.
not have a waiting room somehow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh.
Okay. What else were you doing while you were reading?
Learning how to pronounce Sanskrit names.
Yes. Yeah. That was good. Yeah, some really nice points. How the Lord makes himself known and makes his will known through Brahma. This is really nice point, that the transcendental knowledge of the Vedas, how it is disseminated, right? It's very it's like without understanding the Vedas, it's just totally ambiguous. Like, okay, yeah, God's there and he has his saints and so forth, and it just kind of randomly, spontaneously occurs. But it's like, no, there's incredible order to everything, right? There's nothing is random, right? There's order to everything. So yeah, the dynamic between Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva is it's like the topmost dynamics in the cosmos. So the Vedic knowledge enters through Brahma, it's transmitted through his heart. And so there's basically 2 ways to attain perfection. One is this spontaneous, automatic transmission in the heart, where the Lord directly gives you his mercy and manifests himself, reveals himself in your heart. It's very, very rare. Sometimes it happens to individuals and we have this awakening experience that lasts for maybe a couple days, and then we kind of come back to mundane consciousness. But we're like, wow, I was touched by God.
Yeah.
But it's just like a little fraction. It's just a little thing, to course correct you. That's the Paramatma, right? Which is the same Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, is the form of God. This is the name that designates the super soul, Paramatma. But he'll correct you on the course because he has better ways of instructing you. Better meaning more holistic, just a heart transmission. That's not a very appropriate way for him to deal with everyone, because this is a very big universe and there are very many personalities, and we have to learn how to interact with them in a proper way. Not just, oh, well, I'm special, God spoke to me, therefore I don't really need to learn how to interact with you. You see how that can go?
Yeah.
Right. But if we go through, learn how to approach spiritual channels, the proper channels, and take the process of discipleship seriously, then we'll be very well trained. So Brahma is the very special being in the universe, right? He's the first created being in the universe.
Yeah.
And therefore, he's known as the supreme lord of this universe. That's a lowercase L that Prabhupada put, right?
Yeah.
He's the creator, right? The architect of the world, the universe, right? So he has this supreme position. So it's his role, it's his duty to sit there at the ocean of milk in Swetadweep and meditate on Vishnu, because he's the one who's like chronologically, or even you could say like biologically, most proximate to God. And then it's another nice point here that I'm seeing. It's like all of the demigods were there, but they didn't hear a response, because God isn't such an easy thing, easy person to approach. So he kind of like kept this aloofness, but then in order to set things in motion in the proper way, he transmitted his message to Brahma, because he's like, that's how I'm going to do this. Other times many times he directly manifests himself, and that's like a big deal. God just appeared in the flesh, right? Like that's pretty huge. So and the message was, I'm going to appear in the flesh, and I'm going to appear in my supreme form. So this is like the most epic story, literally, that was ever told. And he would also appear with his supreme powerful potencies, most namely Ananta and Maya. So his expansion of Balaram, this is one of the forms of Balaram, who's like the male expansion, and then Radharani and Lakshmi and Durga Devi, also known as Maya, are feminine expansions. So energies, these energies. So that she would also appear, with whom all the conditioned souls are enamored, right? We're all trying to enjoy God's external energy, all of material creation. She is embodiment, personification rather, of that. And then that the demigods, he's instructing that all of you demigods, you should also appear on the planet to assist me in my mission, for their benefit, not that Krishna needs them to, which he displays, time and time again. He doesn't need anyone's help, but he does for everyone's benefit. Because again, he wants us to learn how to cooperate with all the forces in the universe. Jai, okay, should I read?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have anything to add? You look like you're sitting there taking notes.
Yeah, I am. I really am. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. After instructing and pacifying all the demigods, as well as Bhumi, with sweet words, Lord Brahma, the father of all Prajapatis, or progenitors of the universal population, departed for his own abode, the highest material planet called Brahmaloka. The leader of the Yadu dynasty, King Shurasena, was ruling over the country known as Mathura, wherein lies the city of Mathura, as well as the district known as Shurasena, which was named after him. On account of the rule of King Shurasena, Mathura became the capital city of all the kings of the Yadus. Mathura was also made the capital of the kings of the Yadu dynasty because the Yadus were a very pious family and knew that Mathura is the place where Lord Sri Krishna lives eternally, just as he also lives in Dwarka. So, setting the scene for the location that Krishna takes his birth, which anywhere that the Lord makes his residence is an eternal place. You know, if God wants to camp out, you know, in some, like, what's the name of, you know, like what's the name of that park in Rochester?
Highland Park?
Let's say Highland Park. You know,
Ellison?
Lord wants to, what's that?
Ellison, Powder Mill.
Okay, nice.
I know all the parks, dude.
Yeah, I've forgotten.
I'm like your park connection.
You see this? Yeah. So let's say
Leroy.
Lord wants, Krishna wants
You name it, I got it, dude.
Okay. Krishna wants to camp out in Ellison Park, right? And he says, imagine. So he says, you know, this Ellison Park, this is super nice. It's nice enough for me to make my home here. What happens when Krishna is done with his activities and he goes back to Goloka, quote unquote? Does Ellison Park assume its hitherto fate of eventually, you know, disappearing, you know, by passage of time into oblivion, just as everything is? Or like eventually everything is like Ellison Park, there will be a day when Ellison Park is no more, right? Could be 10 years from now, could be 10,000, 10 million years from now, right? But we know this, like, it's not an eternal place. It's part of the material world. But if Krishna decides to reside there, then it becomes eternal. Then there's nothing that can, even if the whole thing is bulldozed, it is still existing, right? So it's still existing in the transcendental spiritual sky. So Dwarka and Mathura are two realms, and we've touched on these before, right? There's Goloka as the topmost realm, then Dwarka and Mathura, and likewise Ayodhya, Kailash, right? These are eternal abodes. And the you know, saints and rishis, you know, the seers of that time, they knew that Mathura is one such city, and it's the city wherein, when Krishna advents on planet Earth, that's the name of the city he lives in. Okay. Right. Or that he's born in, right?
Right. So what would make Vrindavan? What would Vrindavan be?
Oh, Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is the topmost planet because that's his actual home. Mathura and Dwarka are places of pastimes that he has with, like, kind of one step down from that supreme abode of the most intimate pastimes. He has these other abodes of less intimate pastimes, right? So Vrindavan is his actual supreme home, but he has these other homes, more like houses, because home is really where the heart is, and Krishna's heart is always in Vrindavan, right? Krishna himself never sets foot outside of Vrindavan, but Krishna, an expansion of Krishna, which I believe is called Swamsa expansion, which is a form of Krishna it's not like there's like these other expansions like Balaram where it's like a different personality. Swamsa expansion, it's Swa means, self same. So it's the same person, Krishna, looks just like Krishna, but it's actually, in a sense, a different person.
Yeah.
Because Krishna, that supreme transcendental person, is always in Vrindavan. Fact. And Prabhupada will, I'm sure, once the story gets to those thresholds, he'll delineate, okay, this is an expansion of Krishna. Like, actually, yeah, he mentioned that in the intro, right? That it's actually just the Vishnu expansions that kill the demons. Yeah, the killing of demons in Vrindavan was carried out only by the Vishnu portion of Krishna, right? Because all the forms of God are within Krishna. So Vrindavan is where Krishna in full is there. And then Mathura and Dwarka, he's always full, but it's like that.
Man. So I've heard Vrindavan I have heard it been referred to as the Holy Dham. Have you ever heard that saying?
Yeah, Dham means Holy Land.
Yeah. So I guess the Vrindavan here on this planet is like supposedly like a little flake. It's like a little tiny piece of the eternal Vrindavan is actually here.
Yeah.
I guess that's the concept behind that saying.
It's sort of, what's good word? I feel like there's a really good word that I heard recently that makes a lot of sense. I can't remember, because like it's not like replica. That doesn't quite do justice to what it is. Almost like surrogate might be closer. It's, or like carbon copy.
Yeah.
It is Vrindavan because Vrindavan isn't physical in one sense. It's transcendental, right? So it's not like, yeah, like the abode of the Lord isn't. I was hearing this one disciple of Prabhupada talk about this. It's like oh man, I might be able to find it in a minute. It's like transdimensionally situated.
So it's kind of like,
here it is.
Yeah,
Transdimensionally connected.
Okay.
This is Sadaputa Prabhu. And that's all I wrote. I thought I had more on that. Anyway, it's Vrindavan is there. The transcendent Vrindavan is there, but this is like the physical like face, facet. It's like one side of this polydimensional object that we're just seeing the third dimension of. So it looks like just a normal mundane object, meaning city, but it's actually not. It's there's a transcendental dimension that is situating itself there.
Yeah.
Almost like a portal.
Yeah, that's
that you have to raise your consciousness to the consciousness of that portal, of that dimension, in order to actually enter. But you still get benefit by going there. Right. But the real benefit is if you can associate with the consciousness of Vrindavan. So there's various types of Vrindavan. Actually, I was hearing a class when I was in New Vrindavan in West Virginia, which is another Vrindavan, that he said there's 5 types of Vrindavan. And so let's see if I can remember. There's the transcendental worlds Vrindavan, like Krishna's eternal home in the spiritual sky. That's Goloka Vrindavan. And then there's the Vrindavan of Krishna physically being on the planet. Like when Krishna is on the planet in Vrindavan, that is the spiritual sky, definitely, but it's situated on planet Earth. Then there's Vrindavan, the city, when Krishna's not on the planet. So it's covered over by material energy. You can't see that it's spiritual. I'm forgetting one. And then there's also replica, such as New Vrindavan, which is not the first. There are other replicas that have been made. And those replicas are, all 5 of these are considered non-different. They're all equally potent. But the way that we can access them is different, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Spiritual Vrindavan right now is right here in my mind, and I want to go there right now.
Nice.
I want to live there. I want to live in Vrindavan. I've been invited, so I can go now, I guess. I guess that's one of the sayings about it, is that you have to be invited to Vrindavan. I don't know. I have heard so many different things about Vrindavan. All I know is that it is a very holy place and a very sacred place, and I want to go there one day. That's all I can say about that right now.
Definitely.
Yes. So
I'm sure we'll talk more about it.
Yes. Yeah. That was a very good start to chapter 1 of the Krishna book. That is all the time we have today. I want to thank you, Balaram, for coming on here and having discussions and sharing all of your wisdom with us. And if you want to check me out, you can check me out at Bhakta Jake at Instagram, or you can join our WhatsApp group, simply called Soul Ashraya Podcast at WhatsApp. And that's the show for today. So we would like to recite the Maha Mantra 3 times, and then we're gonna go.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All right, audience, thank you very much for checking this out and watching us. We are the Soul Ashraya Podcast, and that is it for today. So, Harebo!
Harebo! All glories to the Prabhupada.
Jai!